Yeah, we're ready for bands.
Fuck yeah, man. We recording right now?
Hell yeah.
So I got Rob Carroll on the phone, and we're gonna have him and the Rocket Gods, or just him, very soon. He is going to get back to me any minute. So that'll be a fun time.
Yeah, he's better than Bush.
Yeah. Imagine if we could get Bush on here.
Meow, 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 mang.
That'd be amazing.
I heard his Texas accent is fake.
Isn't he from Connecticut?
Ain't he?
I think so.
Yeah. He just puts on a Texas front because it's cute.
I'm related to him.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Shit, dog.
I know. Fucking unfortunately. My grandmother, my great grandmother actually, is Mary Chilton of the Chiltons of the Mayflower, which
Like Chiltonville, the cemetery.
yeah, it's named after us, or well, my
That's where my mother-in-law's buried.
ancestors, really.
Yeah.
Well, I like talked to a friend of mine who does he works in showbiz. He's he is in the set decorating union, like set decks. Like he'll
I did a floor for someone who was in that, who used to be in that.
where
Would
you do it?
He lives in Quincy on Shaw Street.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's a few of them around.
He was a
They all know each other.
stagehands union though.
Oh,
And I
okay.
was like, oh, that's wicked cool.
Yeah, dude, Shane, we could get him on the show. He's worked on so many like great known movies
Yeah.
and independent stuff. We've worked on stuff together. Yeah, he's wicked into ancestry, and he's a historian, and he does like he gets involved in like the you know what the fuck when you dress up as like the different people from like the Civil War or like Pilgrim reenactments. He's a reenactment
reenactor.
dude. Yeah, he's really into that stuff. And we got to talking about like the Chiltons and Plymouth and all that, and my dad's middle name was Chilton. Like his mom named him John Chilton Keene, which we called him Jack. R.I.P. Dad.
I'm
But,
either relearning that or just learning it for the first time. But wow.
I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
kind of interesting.
Actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Chiltonville's where my grandmother and my wife's mother.
I should have money from that.
from their plots at their graves.
Yeah.
The emails.
Whoever's making money off burying people there, I need to get a cut.
The emails are in the show notes.
Because I'll tell you right now, dude, nobody in my family has a ton of money, and you know, we've. I think there was a falling out at some point, like hundreds of years ago, in my family, and you know, I got fucked.
You want
Yeah, but
reparations for being
I wa-
related to pilgrims?
Yeah.
You want to
Oh,
take
that's
all,
horrible.
You want to take all the museum's money and shit?
Yeah,
This is
I
mine.
guess we deserve to be broke.
Yeah, well.
Fuck, man. I didn't look at it like that. I looked at it from a standpoint of like a poor kid that just wants money.
Yeah, you were just talking about charging a cemetery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to own a cemetery.
I should call them up and be like, "Hey, what gives?"
If you buy
Are any of you guys Chiltons?
if you buy a plot of land, can you just use it as cemetery?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think there's certain zoning restrictions.
I think there
I don't
might be too.
If you're burying your dead, you should be able to bury your own
But you
dead.
could do it on your own property, can't you?
You're fucking dead.
I was listening to Knock Loose today.
But yeah, Shane told me
Yeah.
that. Shane told me that, you know, I'm a Chilton, I'm related to George Bush. Anyway, moving on. Knocked Loose is fucking awesome.
Yeah. 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
If I wrote their music, I could fucking make that shit 10.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give them, an 8 out of 10. That's fair.
That's it. I give them a generous review.
Yeah, dude. They're pretty dope. They're pretty dope. They're heavy as fuck.
Yeah. And now I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna write now? They fucking took that away from my idea pit.
Does that happen to you?
Some of the shit, yeah. I'm like, fuck. Well, now I'll listen to it. Thanks for fucking doing it.
That's funny, man.
Shit.
I know what you mean.
Or it's more of like, I could have done that.
Yeah. It's definitely more of an
Or
I
like,
could've
I
done
wouldn't
that.
have done it that way. I wouldn't have put that part there. I would have slowed it down. I would have made it better.
So do it.
Just rewrite their shit.
Everybody's rewriting everybody's shit.
Just start remaking fucking albums.
Dude, hardcore in the metal scene, any fucking scene, man. It's already been done. Every chord. There's only so many chords on a guitar. Yeah.
Redo an Earth Crisis
Just
album.
blatantly fucking slow it down and mix up the parts the way you wanted them mixed. Basically, it's a remix.
Shit. That's a cover band, man. That's a cover band.
That's one thing a lot of writers have to get over. I think a lot of people run into that, oh, this has been done before, or this sounds like this, and that sounds like that. Like, yeah, there is that. Like, you gotta have some form of originality, of course, but I think people put too much thought into it, and it gives them, like, writer's block or some shit. It just, like, prevents them from being able to progress. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To a degree. I'm not saying it's the end-all, be-all, but to a degree.
I have a feeling that if someone is doing something, there's a hot chance that there is someone else doing the same creative, like, goddamn ass thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
there's a good chance. Sure. I think singing makes a big difference, like how something is sung, because you can take chords in a song, like
the instruments are universal, if you will.
yeah, totally. In many cases, yeah. I mean, take any Green Day song and you take their chord progressions. It's been used in a million different bands.
Play it in reverse.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, but it's the way you sing to it that gives it a completely different melody.
All right. Yeah, I guess that's what would make a band, is the face, is the voice.
Well, how about like that just See, I'm humming like an idiot because I don't know fucking sheet music, but
Well, that's Sum 41, Green Day, fucking Blink-182.
Newfound Glory, Blink-182, yeah, exactly. But they're all every song that uses that chord progression by those bands is different because of the way it's sung.
True.
You know.
Yeah.
And bass lines, dude. Bass lines and drums. I mean, really, all of it. You could, yeah, really, all of it. I'll just let me go backwards here.
Just widen it out.
Yeah, this is why.
First,
Let's stretch out.
in.
Stretch out. So for all you singers and songwriters that have issues because of what we were just talking about, just think of it that way. Just fucking take something that's already been done, change the bass line, change the drums, sing differently to it. You'll have a different song.
Man.
Bam! We just solved that.
No, you didn't. It makes posers, don't it?
I don't know. What's a poser?
You just make a poser.
What's a poser? You want to be in a punk band and play fucking punk music?
We
Whatever
were
you do.
All right, we were just talking about making the equivalent of the fucking live action Lion King.
Okay,
out of an album.
Man, I can't, like, hardcore bands, like, after a while it was like every hardcore band sounded like a third-rate Terror, you know what I mean? Like, there are so many bands that sound like fucking Terror.
I hate that, because, alright, when did fucking Terror come out?
20 years ago?
Still, there are fucking so many good bands that are older than Terror.
Maybe a little less.
Just, the Terror
Yeah, but they did it differently.
The comparison to Terror is just dead on me.
Is it really?
I don't think every band sounds like Terror. I think
not every band.
Now, every Terror song sounds like a Terror song.
But think about all the bands that came out after Terror that fucking ripped off Terror. There's a lot of them.
Well, a lot of that shit went over my head anyway.
Yeah, well.
There was a couple, like, Most Precious Blood was cool. I remember them.
Forgot about them. Yeah.
We didn't forget about you guys.
Are they older than Terror?
They might be.
I don't think Terror's even that old.
My timeline just says "fuck it" behind it.
Yeah,
behind me. I'm just like, all right.
Right.
I'm not digging through that library. I'm not digging through that file.
It's crazy, man. And pretty much everybody ripped off Slayer.
How? Who?
Everybody.
Who?
Every metal hardcore band that came after Slayer. Slayer
How?
was like the first to do what they were doing.
Yeah, but bands like didn't fucking do fucking. They didn't sound like that.
Are you sure? You just played a straight up beat that I've heard in a million songs.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not saying it's bad, man. I can't say I've ever written something that you can't compare to something else, you know?
I think the drummer is what made Slayer unique.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
kind of listening to too much Ministry, but wanting to be like more of a band sound. No, I like
Okay.
Ministry and all, but you know
No, I get it. I get
they're
it.
kind of
Yeah.
fast. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mhm.
Mm.
It's not a bad comparison.
But if people want to play like Kerry King, just kind of slop your hands all over the top of the neck and hope that your notes hit. If all of your notes hit, it'll fucking sound like Kerry King
He's
solo.
yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say yeah, exactly. If all of the notes hit, yeah, he's pretty fucking ridiculous.
That's the thing. He can make them all hit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he can. Yeah, that's true.
It might be all over the fucking place. And I'm like trying to fucking pin it out in my head as to where the fuck it goes on the board. And I'm like, all right, see ya. It's like a bumblebee flight on paper. Props though. You just
Bumblebee.
started a new band. I guess it's pretty dope.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't heard it yet, but it's hyped out. It's hyped out to be as good as Slayer, Carrie's new band.
Hmm.
Mm.
What's it called? Do you know?
Mm-mm.
And soon we will be able to type these things up and ask the computer.
Could do it right now. I ain't looking.
No, we'll do it when we want to do it. We'll do it when it's more.
We'll clip it in.
Approachable.
We'll just be like, all of a sudden, oh man, just all of a sudden it'll be a fucking horrible edit in the middle of our sentence. No jump scares though, guys. We're good. We're not gonna get you.
Are we gonna do like Halloween episodes and like paranormal stuff too?
Dress up for the camera.
I don't know. Well, we could.
Obviously.
But I just mean like paranormal stories.
Yeah.
We should dress up
They're
for the camera.
That's pretty hard rock if you fucking ghosts.
Yeah, dude.
Are you scared of ghosts?
Am I? I guess it. Not particularly. Not particularly. I could have the shit scared out of me if, you know, like I'll go into a building looking for ghosts. That's
But if
fine.
something otherworldly happens,
And I'm not looking for it, that would be pretty creepy. Yeah. I mean, there are demonic things and there are like bothersome things too.
attachments.
Yeah.
Well,
If there's something demonic fucking with me, yeah, that's gonna scare the shit out of me.
they say everybody has their demons, and I'm starting to think that's a literal thing. Everybody's got demons attached to them.
Shit, that's deep.
Mm.
That's deep. You could be right. Could be wrong.
And
But you
people
could
go
be right.
through. I've heard about people going through big, painstaking processes to get these things, these attachments, like off of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like exorcisms and shit.
No. I don't have the details, the deets.
Have you ever heard like actual recordings of real exorcisms?
Yeah.
Most of them are a fucking joke. Most of them is like, okay, this person's just convulsing and saying weird shit. But there are some that like the person's speaking multiple languages and like, you know, can't normally speak multiple languages. Like the girl from there was a movie based on I think it was the Exorcism of Emily Rose. There's real recordings out there of the real Emily Rose. And,
yeah, they show some in the movie, don't they?
I think they do. I don't know.
I have it on DVD. Don't throw your DVDs out, people. Don't throw your hard
Yeah,
music.
keep that shit.
Don't throw your hard music out. Don't throw your DVDs out.
I don't-
You will need them one day. There are no streams.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't know if Hollywood took any like you know, liberties with that or not, but I have heard the real recordings outside of the movie. And like this little girl was, you know, speaking Latin, German. She said she was Hitler, like, and started speaking like German. She said she was a few different things. There was a few different demons in her. It's pretty fucking crazy.
Attachments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, attachments that I don't know. Imagine being born with that, you know? Just falling into that.
I can't.
I can't fathom it either.
I can imagine meeting them because I've seen some weird shit.
The other side.
Yeah. Like,
Because it has to be the other side.
yeah. I mean, there are many. I believe there are many dimensions surrounding us, and I think you can access those dimensions. whether it's with like drugs or astral body projection, which I'm very familiar with. As ridiculous as that sounds to people listening, I am very familiar with that.
And then again, there's people tuning into this specific part just because you said that.
Maybe. I would, I'm just a really open-minded person, and I hope the majority of people listening are open-minded, because we could really have a serious talk about astral body projection.
So, you do it when you're unconscious?
No, are you conscious? Like when I do it, like what am I doing?
Are you sleeping?
No, it's in between. It's like an in-between sleeping. You're conscious, I should say, of your surroundings. It's like right before you fall into sleeping. Like if you're dreaming and you're aware that you're dreaming, that's lucid dreaming. But like astral projection is like when you your body falls asleep, but you're very conscious of everything around you, and to the point where you can open your eyes and you can get up and walk around and actually see your body in its like, sleeping position, if you will. It's a fucking trip.
And you can travel?
Yeah, you can travel. You can leave and pretty much go wherever.
You can travel beyond the step of walking?
Yeah, you can glide.
You
can go through walls. You can go outside.
You can just clip, no clip.
Yeah.
Just free move.
Yeah. It's hard. It's actually exhausting.
Is there gravity?
To a degree.
Yeah,
I mean,
whenever I'm flying in a dream or jumping in a dream, I'm coming back down.
Well, that's like lucid dreaming.
Okay.
And when you astral project, you can do that, but it's not in a dream. It's more of like your surroundings.
Yeah.
I guess it's hard to explain, but you can pretty much astral project to anywhere you want. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's kind of hard to explain.
Can you manipulate the environment?
No. You can... no.
Can you go through a door if you chose to?
Yeah.
Can you open a door?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can tangibly open a door.
Yeah. Is it opening in real life? I don't think so. It's just a different form of consciousness.
So, your surroundings are like the surroundings you left.
Yeah. Yep. And you can see other things. And that could be a form of dreaming. You're just conscious of it, and then like you will things into existence, like people or whatever. But in my experience, I have gotten out of my body countless times, and I have seen things that I did not fucking will to see it, and it was either like a demonic thing, or just I don't know, like just a coexisting, person or spirit or whatever that doesn't pose any kind of threat, which is really interesting. But I've had some pretty demonic run-ins, and I have fought the things that I have ran into, because they scared me, but I refused to show it, so I attacked them. And I don't know, I fucked them up. But there was one time that stopped me from projecting for a couple of years, and it was when I was living in Pine Grove at the McNeese house, and I had left my body. I had walked outside, and I had seen this tall black figure with like almost like a cloak, and it was probably like 7 or 8 feet tall.
In a little neighborhood by a lake.
Yeah, dude, it was wild, and I was very drawn to it, and I was scared shitless. And like I said, normally when I see demonic entities in that realm, again, whether it's a realm or a dream, whatever the fuck ever, it is different from your normal dream. But I was outside of the house I was living at. I saw this tall figure. It was skinny, very slender, had like a hood on, and its face was just black, like blacker than black. And I walked up to it, and I was super nervous, but it was almost like, it was like enticing me to walk up to it no matter how scared I was. And so I did. I walked up to it, and it just stared down at me, and I remember I lashed out at it. I tried to hit it, and it grabbed me by my wrist, and it put me to my knees, bending my wrist. And I was just frozen, staring into the blackness that was this thing's face. And it said, in a really demonic voice, "We are taking him with us, and there's not a fucking thing you can do about it." I started yelling faith. I started saying faith over and over and over again. And I pulled away from it, and my phone rang. And I got sucked back into my body. And I woke up, and I looked at the caller ID on my phone, and it was my sister Faith. My hand was entangled in the bedpost behind me, and I had to like snake my hand out from it because it was like holding me back. And I picked up the phone, and I was like, "Faith." She's like, "Hey, dude, this is like 6:30 in the morning. My fucking nobody calls me at 6:30 in the morning." And she's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Fucking sleeping. You just woke me up. Like, what's going on?" And she was like, "Did somebody already tell you?" Because of the way I sounded, I'm like, "What's going on?" You know? And she was like, "Did somebody already tell you?" I'm like, "No, what?" And she goes, "Father Mark died." And Father Mark was a close friend of my family's. He was a Catholic priest, lived in Hanson. And I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, he just died like a couple of hours ago, like in his recliner." And I'm like, I gotta go. This is too fucking weird for me. I'll call you back. She goes, "Yeah, no problem." I'm like, "I love you too," and hung up. And it took me all day to just like shake that off, like this little strange occurrence, because it was so, I don't know if I'm doing it justice here, but it was just so fucking blatant that something had happened, you know? And it was bigger than me, like whatever the fuck that was. So
Where was he from? What part of
Father
Hanson,
Mark?
Of Hanson was he
he
from?
lived in the rectory at St. Joseph the Worker.
It's in that area of Hanson though.
Yeah.
It's like that
Yeah.
priest, like you know how towns have vicinities,
Yeah.
like regions.
Yeah. Which isn't far from Pine Grove where I was living. And you just made me think of that. But yeah, it was in that area. It was, dude, normally I get the chills and I like tear up when I'm talking about it. Not because I'm like crying, but just like the hair usually stands up in my arms. I get goosebumps and tears just start falling out of my face when I talk about this. I think, I mean, I've had a few nips, so I'm like comfortable. But
Who was that thing? Was it a him?
What, the demonic thing?
Yeah.
I feel like it was, but I don't know if I could label it with a sex. But it was, I mean, it was masculine as fuck. And that freaked me out. Like that, I stopped astral traveling for a few years after that. Just because I felt like it was telling me, like, fucking, you disobey this realm. Like, you're attacking shit. You do a lot of fucked up things when you're over here. Like, I'm going to show you that we are powerful. We are more powerful than you. And it sent me a clear fucking message. You know, like, I am not wanted there. So I did. About 2 or 3 years, I stopped doing it.
Why would he tell you about him? About his
About Father Mark?
Yeah.
I think it was just like a weird way of just like cutting me like deeply on a spiritual level. Cause like I'm spiritual. I'm not really religious. I have a lot of gripes against religions, but I do believe in God, and I do believe in a higher power. And yeah, like he was a good friend of my family's. Like he was a good guy. He was just a good person. You know, he wasn't caught up in the whole like molestation and all that shit. Like, yeah, you say Catholic priest and people are like, "Oh, is he fucking little boys?" Not this one. He was not.
So why would they want him?
I don't know. That is what made me think about it. I was thinking like, why would they want him? How would they be able to take him? Maybe he did do some fucking evil shit. Or maybe the thing was just fucking lying to me and just deceiving me to making me think it's more powerful than it is. Because that's a big thing.
Maybe they're
Deception.
just taking a prisoner.
It could be taking a prisoner. Yeah. I think Father Mark passed away in his recliner, and I think this thing was using that to get to me. I think it was deceiving me into thinking it's more powerful than it is.
Took you down with a wrist. With
Yeah.
A flick of, well, not even a flick, but
I went to punch it, and it grabbed my wrist and just bent it, and I got to my knees. And dude, the amount of fear that like went through me was fucking insane.
I'd be frightened too, obviously.
And people hearing this that are like, "Oh, you're a fucking nutcase, full of shit, whatever." Like, yeah, maybe, but I'm not full of shit. Like, I'm just telling you what happened. You know what I mean? Like that happened. It's something that happened.
You ever seen him again?
That figure?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that figure. I have seen that figure a few times over the course of my life, and originally I saw that figure when I was a child in Camp Quaney when I had left my body.
Camp Quaney's where Kevin grew up.
Yeah.
For those that don't know.
Yeah.
So he was at the camp.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Did he talk to you? Did he
not like that. It always
Yeah.
it made its presence known, but it never spoke to me. And that time,
that was the first time it spoke to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it only spoke to you one time?
Yeah. I think other time when I was a kid, I think it growled. It did growl. But it spoke to me. It spoke.
And you think it left when it got what it came for?
I don't know. Yeah, I haven't had any issues with that thing, which is interesting now that you mentioned that. Yeah.
Maybe you met someone else's attachment.
Huh?
Maybe you met someone else's attachment.
Maybe. I have had some really fucked up encounters lately. Not with that though. Like Kelly has like shaken me. Like, so when I astral travel, I do it on purpose. I will lay down when I'm tired, and I can lay down and I can kind of sink into a state of paralysis, and then I can get out of my body. And that's how it works for me. And sometimes I'll fall asleep, and that'll happen automatically. Like sometimes I'll just have sleep paralysis without actually trying to get there. Like I'll just be trying to fall asleep, and I just will sink into paralysis. And I have had a few encounters in the past couple of months where things that I am seeing have been trying to pull me out of me. And Kelly always shakes me awake. Because I'll start making weird fucking noises because you're paralyzed, right? So like, I will be caught in a moment where it is trying to pull me out of me instead of me leaving me. It's something that is pulling me like towards it, and I'll go like, Aah! And I just start like making all these fucking weird noises. I can hear them because I'm it's like yelling. I can hear me.
This is at home?
What's that?
This is at home?
Yeah, this is at home. Yeah. It happened a couple weeks ago, just that recently.
Trying to pull you into the pond?
I don't know. It's happening in dreams, too.
Is there water in your dreams? You gotta do the water thing if you leave your body.
Not in the last couple times. A couple of weeks ago, I was in a dream, but I could feel the paralysis, so it was almost as if I was starting to wake up.
Yeah.
But I was still seeing these things in my dream, and I was walking down a basement, and there was this thing on the bottom of the basement that kept poking out like this, and then going back behind the door jamb, and I was like, "Fuck, what is going on?"
I think of the alien peeking in X-Files.
Well, I kept going down the stairs, and then it like poked out of the door jamb and turned around and started walking away, and I started following it into this really dark fucking basement. And when I got into the dark of the basement, it turned around, and I started being pulled like towards it, like, ah! And I started making these weird fucking noises, and Kelly shook me awake. She's like, Kevin, wake up, you're okay. And that's happened like a fair amount in the past year. I had a dream that I was in a kitchen with Kelly at some kind of party with all these women that I didn't know, and they were all like, they were very attractive middle-aged women, and they were trying to like, they were like connecting with Kelly, and they were like, oh yeah, like look at pictures of my granddaughters and all this stuff.
Jesus.
Yeah, and it was like, but there was this weird, ominous feeling in the atmosphere. Like I knew what they were doing wasn't genuine. And one of the middle-aged women who I thought was particularly attractive looked at me, and she had morphed. Like her face just like did this weird demonic thing.
Like the devil's advocate.
Yeah,
Like that
something like
part.
that, dude. Yeah, and two of them talked Kelly into walking into the backyard with her,
Yeah.
and I was watching through a window like they were taking her over to like a well, and then the others were staring at me. They all stood up from a table and they were staring at me, and they started pulling me towards them, and I started fucking like, you know, doing that weird like inward breathing or whatever, and Kelly like shook the fuck out of me and like woke me up. And like, yeah, like again, like people listening to this could be like, dude, you're fucked. Like you just having really bad dreams. I'm like, I agree with you. That was a really bad dream. But like there is this like similar feeling like in the astral projections and then in these dreams where like, you know, that demonic dude like grabbed me. That was the astral projection, and I felt like he was like pulling me out of me. Like he was doing something. He was warning me, you know? Almost like he could pull me out and then just put me back. Like, this is what I'm doing to you. And, like...
What can you tell me about this dude at home?
In Camp Quaney? Like
No.
That
Present.
present?
Yeah.
Like, when that happened to me last?
Yeah.
Physical-wise?
Yeah.
Well, like, it was 8... It was like 7 or 8. Could have been taller. 7 or 8 feet.
Still big, though.
Yeah. Big, but slender. Like, and had, like, this cloak thing and its hood... And then, like, yeah, like I said, his face was, like, black as black. Like, it was just, it was, like, peering into darkness. And it was fucking terrifying.
Void, huh?
Yeah. Just a black void with a demonic voice. It was, fucking terrifying. You know, when I was in Camp Quaney...
Was it alive, do you think?
I don't know. I don't know what would constitute being alive in that situation. I don't know. It was something.
It had a will.
Yeah, I mean, it was conscious of me, I guess. And like I said, I had seen that a couple times in my youth growing up in Camp Quaney. Like when I first figured out how to control my astral projections, because like originally I was really fucking young, and I remember this because it was traumatizing, where I was paralyzed. Like I'm talking like going all the way back to when I was like probably like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And I can remember being paralyzed and shaking and trying to like move and coming out of my body. And it was like this total claustrophobic feeling. And I'd come out of the body, and I would see my body, and I would see this dog. Dogs are another like very reoccurring thing in my astral travels. But this dog came into the room and like nipped at my hand. And I would see these 2 other children. So I got to a certain point when I was like between 10 and 13. I realized when I fell into paralysis, I could get out of my body. Like I could do that without panicking. Because when you're in a paralysis, you could fucking panic, you know? It can be pretty nerve-wracking. But I realized it's okay. Like, if you go into paralysis, just get out of your body and walk around a little bit. And so that's what I started doing. I started controlling it. And I would see these 2 children, a boy and a girl. And they would literally, like, visit me in my room and, like, talk to me and laugh and giggle. And, like, we'd run around my house. But there was always... Not always, but there was a lot of the time they were trying to get away from this dark entity. And it was almost like they were going to me for refuge. And there was this just dark entity that would always be outside of my house. Like whether it was looking in the windows or trying to like find a way in. And they were fucking terrified of it. And I never really knew what to make of that. But that was the same entity that grabbed me by the wrist when I was in Pine Grove. and maybe it's just a figment of my own imagination or some kind of boogeyman in my astral
You
projections, or
manifested it.
maybe I manifested it. Yeah, but it's definitely there. Maybe I manifested those children when I was growing up, but I would see them often. I don't know. Maybe I'm schizophrenic. Maybe I leave my body and I'm schizophrenic. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing.
I did have like some trauma as a kid, and I had night terrors and shit like that. I would wake up screaming and running around.
Well, you're not alone. That's the thing. You're not the only person. Fucking. You're not the only person with these stories.
Right. No, I know.
That's
yeah. Right.
the fucked up thing.
That's the very fucked up thing. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think schizophrenic would I was kind of being sarcastic. I don't think that would be the right term. If I was walking around in everyday life and seeing and hearing these things in my head, that would be one thing. But I'm not, thank God. But yeah, I've talked to other people all over America and the world on the internet about these things. There's one dude, I forget his name. When I was in Pine Grove and that whole thing happened with that entity grabbing my wrist, I made a connection with this dude in New York who was into astral travel, and he was like, he was really into my story. And then I told him like other stories about astral travel and lucid dreaming, and him and I, went back and forth for a while, and he had a whole group of people that he was friends with. And, we were going to get together in New York and like do this, just fucking like be in the same room and astral travel together. And people do that. Like there's a lot of people that do that. Group traveling.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How far have you gone?
Like distance?
Yeah, like you've been around the world?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You've been anywhere
I've
fucked
left
up?
Earth and looked down on Earth.
Is it round?
It wasn't my astral travel. I don't know if I'd call it round. It was kind of like a disc, but I don't know. I didn't go under it, you know what I mean?
It was big?
Yeah, it was really big. It's really big. But I guess no, I don't think I left Earth, but I went into like a lower orbit or whatever, maybe like about where satellites are.
Have you ever been anywhere man hasn't touched?
I don't think so.
You think we've been all over the world?
All over space or the world? You mean like our planet? Have we been everywhere on our planet?
Mm.
Yeah, I think the military has. I think certain branches have. I don't think a lot of people have. Because, I mean, there's places you can't go, like when you start talking about Antarctica and shit.
Yeah. I want to see pictures of Earth from the bottom, please.
That'd be interesting.
Zoomed in, if you will.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. We have no real actual pictures of the moon. They're all deposits. They're all photoshopped. And I promise anybody listening right now, you can look that up. There are artists at NASA. They are artists that render these photos, and they use Photoshop. That's fucking real.
You're talking about on the moon, right?
Yeah. Pictures of the moon and everything. You don't just, zoom in with some crazy lens or whatever. There's artists rendering these photos.
I think all that money is going to the particle acceleration front.
What, like CERN?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
like
know.
It can't be going to the moon. It can't be going to like.
I don't think we went to the moon. I don't. If
don't
we did,
either.
I would love to know that we did. I'd love to think that, but I don't know that we did. And if we did, I don't think we did back in the 60s. And
We can't now.
Oh, well, and that's the thing. They even
We
said that.
can't now.
They said that in the NASA press conference, that like the reason why we haven't gone back to the moon is because we lost all of the technology in doing so, or destroyed it. They said lost or destroyed. They don't even give you a fucking answer. And then you ask them like the telemetry data, all the data, like they claim they lost it. You really, like, you lost the most important like feat man on Earth has ever done. You lost all the fucking data?
Or you lost a laptop?
Yeah, like, what? Like, that makes zero sense. And again, I urge people to, like, actually look this up instead of being like, you guys are fucking idiots. No, look it up. Like, don't be ignorant. Look it up. In fact, take some keywords out of what I just said, and you will find the fucking interview with a NASA employee that is blatantly telling you that they lost or destroyed the data.
Yeah.
It's interesting, man. It's fucking interesting.
Prove it. I can't.
Yeah, right, exactly. Exactly.
China's trying to buy the moon, or claim the moon anyway.
Yeah?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. There's some whole politics over the moon right now, and it's more ridiculous than it actually is.
Yeah. Well, that is ridiculous.
It's even more ridiculous because of the money. I just think of NASA, and I'm like, okay, they build really big space shuttles.
Right.
A lot of steel. Okay, billions of dollars. I've seen that equipment. Bolts that are like fucking $400 that are this big.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah, I believe it.
And friggin', because it's just made for that thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, there's so much money going into it. Can't all be space.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
We're not overrun by like, wouldn't we have satellites just failing and falling on us by now?
Yeah.
Knock on fucking
They say
wood.
they like fall into the ocean in certain areas, but
What, Point Nemo?
I don't know.
They steer all the space junk supposedly to Point Nemo out in the mid-Pacific or something like that.
Oh, really?
But that's where all the wreckage is steered into.
Okay.
Wicked deep, no one can get to it.
Of course.
Hmm.
Did you ever see that documentary? A funny thing happened on the way to the moon.
No, but I've heard about it. Bart Sabrell, right?
Yes.
Bart Sabrell.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good listen.
It's fascinating because it's like, I don't know, that guy could be full of shit, but there are many good points raised in that documentary, like that are hard to look away from. And if you really have an open mind, you check it out and judge for yourself. So many people don't even take it that step. They'll Google his name and see that he's a whack job and people say all this shit about him. You should actually watch his documentary because it's fucking pretty interesting.